This might hurt.
This is the story of two high school boys. Given the most important escort mission of their lives, they expected it to be simple. And it should have been. They were the strongest. But no one could have ever predicted these catastrophic series of events that would change the world of Jujutsu sorcery forever. Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto are second-year students at Tokyo Jujutsu High. Not only are they the strongest, these two are locked in. They're basically brothers. The invincible duo always get sent on missions together by their teacher, along with Shoko, the final member of their 3-person class. Don't ask me why the class is so small. Maybe it's because nobody wants to be a sorcerer, I don't know. Geto is the more relaxed half of the two-man team. The leader type who believes that the weak should be protected above everything else. He takes his mission seriously and follows orders pretty much to the letter to leave no room for mistakes. Gojo is the more unpredictable half. He'll go in head first and figure everything out as it's happening. He's like, oh, we're supposed to eliminate this curse here? Okay, boom. Completely forgetting to put up the barrier that makes it so that only people with cursed energy can see what's going on inside. And now the general public is like, how did this house just explode out of nowhere? Curses are born from the negative emotions of people, so more anxious or scared people equals more curses. But Gojo, he doesn't care about any of that. He's just there to make sure that the curse is exercised and that nobody dies. Geto always tries talking some sense into Gojo, letting him know how arrogant and selfish he can be. Just because he was born into the Gojo clan with the 6 eyes and limitless technique doesn't mean he can just go around doing whatever he wants. As a sorcerer, especially a strong one, there's certain rules you gotta follow, but Gojo doesn't want to hear it. Who cares about morality and all this stick together kumbaya stuff when you can literally stop anything from even coming close to you? Jujutsu, bro, that word jujutsu, bro, like, ooh. Jujutsu society is surrounded by barriers that are strengthened by Tengen, an immortal being that must find a new vessel for their power every 500 years. If Tengen stays in one body for too long, they will evolve into a being with no free will and eventually become an unstoppable monster. To prevent this, a star plasma vessel is sacrificed in order to give Tengen a new form and reset their curse technique. This time around, the vessel is a 14-year-old girl by the name of Riko Amanai. What's an escort mission without a little drama? Apparently there are 2 other groups that want to kill Riko for a similar reason, keeping Tengen in their current form so that they can stay pure and eventually rampage through the world. So Tengen summoned Gojo and Geto specifically for this mission. Knowing that they're the strongest sorcerers, Tengen trusts these two to carry out the mission successfully. At first, Gojo saw this as just another protect this annoying, powerless person kind of thing. But after seeing Riko being so proud of being the star plasma vessel, so sad to say goodbye to all her friends, and so happy to just be alive and experience all the things she did under Gojo and Geto's protection, Gojo actually started to become fond of her. Maybe all weak people aren't just a nuisance. Maybe there's something special about living a normal life, having people that care about you and want to protect you at all costs. There's something worth fighting for other than just getting stronger. But for now, there's something more sinister happening behind the scenes. The higher-ups of the 2 groups that want Riko dead are non-stop hiring assassins and curse users to stop Geto and Gojo from returning with Riko. And there's one man, one prideful, bag-chasing man who wants nothing more than to make sure that they fail miserably.
Introducing the catalyst that sparked the downward spiral of this friendship, Toji. Toji, as you all know, is a powerful character that doesn't even use cursed energy. And with that being said, I'm telling you right now, this man caused a pack watch on Jujutsu High. He wasted no time getting Gojo up out of there and took down Geto on the same timing. Now on a more serious note, when fighting, Toji introduced both Gojo and Geto to the world in a different lens. Gojo, before fighting Toji, honestly could not imagine a world with people giving him a challenge, which is why when facing an enemy, Gojo never seemed to be worried or fazed by anyone. His 6 eyes and limitless was more than enough to rely on. Toji verbatim called him a man with no opening. He was unstoppable. This all changed when Gojo was stabbed from behind, not because he was in serious hurt. It was not a case of how hard he got hit. It was more so how he got hit in the first place. This instantly put a bit of concern in Gojo's heart, knowing that he was not the invincible man he thought himself to be. The moment Toji broke through his limitless from behind and struck him right through his throat, he put Gojo in a state of shock. And this experience didn't necessarily humble him, but it definitely enlightened him. In Geto's case, however, it was pretty straightforward. Toji beat him up, but Toji does leave him with one piece of advice. He says,
"You have the blessing of parentage, but even with that blessing, you were both beaten by a monkey like me who can't even use cursed techniques. You want to live a long life, don't forget that."
Geto understood at that moment his place in the Jujutsu world is never guaranteed, as there are others out there who could beat him with ease. This might be the reason why Geto resorts to calling those who aren't sorcerers monkey. Just something to think about. But this loss was stapled in his mind. Gojo and Geto were the dynamic duo toying with multiple villains before this, and all it took was one man with no curse energy to change their view on the world.
After coming face to face with that heavenly restricted powerhouse, Gojo, on the brink of death, finally learned what true strength was. He accepted the fact that before this, he knew almost nothing about the true capabilities of cursed energy, especially as a member of the Gojo clan. And in those few moments where he felt like he might actually die, he learned two important techniques. The first is the reverse curse technique used to heal his body and rematch Toji. Using this takes a huge toll on your mind and body, so when he met Toji, he couldn't think of anything else but the fact that he was alive and that he was the strongest. Above all heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. He became enlightened and he truly became invincible by using the second technique he learned, Hollow Purple, to completely rip through Toji's body. After all that man had done to him, hurting his best friend, nearly killing him, being the entire reason that he failed the mission, he still asked Toji for his final words.
2 or 3 years from now, my kid will be sold off to the Zenin clan. Do what you will with that.
Gojo walks into the House of the Star to retrieve Riko's corpse, only to be met with hundreds of cult members cheering for her death. Geto arrives to see Gojo, his blue eyes sparkling like the skies in heaven, but his face emotionless and cold. "You're Satoru, right?" Gojo asks Geto if they should kill everyone in the cheering crowd. The way he is now, he wouldn't regret it in the slightest. Geto responds saying that there wouldn't be a point to it. Not that it would be wrong to do, but that it would have no meaning. The true masterminds behind Riko's death had already escaped or been torn apart by Gojo. He says meaning is important for sorcerers, and Gojo walks out, holding the corpse of someone he was supposed to protect, while Geto stays, with the orchestra of cheering cultists filling all of his senses.
Sarame.
Gojo had refined his technique so much to the point that his infinity itself senses danger. That means he can have it on at all times, making him basically untouchable. Geto even acknowledges that Gojo had become the strongest, but something's not right. Had Suguru lost weight? From his point of view, Gojo had just kept rising and he just kept falling. He fell so far that he hadn't even bothered to acquire new curses to use. Gojo can handle it all by himself. They were never the strongest. He was just helping Gojo climb to the top. And once he reached that peak, no one can even come close to him. It was only when he and Gojo were equals that he felt that being a sorcerer and fighting for the weak was actually worth it. And now what? Just sit around and wait for Gojo to take care of everything? What kind of life is that?
What kind of woman is your type?
Yuki Tsukumo is a special grade sorcerer that hates the current state of the world. She wants to create a world where curses don't exist, and she knows that non-sorcerers are the cause of them running wild. So instead of fighting curses and wasting her time, she wants to tackle the root of the problem. As a teacher, she's someone who helps people choose their path. She's not there to make that choice for them. So when Geto says that they should kill all non-sorcerers, his instincts tell him that he shouldn't have said that, and he retracts his statement. That wouldn't be right. That's not something that someone with power should be doing. But Yuki, she allows him to make his own choice, with a familiar, mundane path, swallowing curses, fighting curses, the dark, unknown path of Geto had his mind made up. Those damn monkeys think they know it all. They live completely ignorant of the fact that there's a world outside of theirs, one that they created. It's not hard to show some gratitude, some respect for the people that sacrifice everything to save you. He visits Choco saying he's there to try his luck, showing no remorse for his actions and no fear of the consequences. So she calls Gojo over, expecting the two of them to fight like they always do, and she leaves. Geto casually walks through the crowd in Shinjuku, only to be stopped by his former classmate, the strongest sorcerer, Satoru Gojo. Gojo says that killing all non-sorcerers is impossible and pointless. Stepping as low as killing your own parents? That's just crazy. He tries to bring Geto back to his side by reasoning with him, and Geto responds by calling him arrogant, saying that Gojo could do it if he wanted to. He could kill all non-sorcerers. He could erase everyone walking past them right now, and it would be easy for him. Then he asks something that makes Gojo question his entire identity as a sorcerer. No, as a person. Are you the strongest because you're Satoru Gojo? Or are you Satoru Gojo because you're the strongest? If he's the strongest because he's Satoru, that would mean that his strength comes from within. The 6 eyes, the limitless technique, he's the one that perfected them, and he worked hard to become this powerful. That's what Gojo wants to believe about himself, but that's not what Geto's saying. He's making a statement. He's implying that the second half of his question is the truth of Gojo's life. That the strongest sorcerer is just that, the strongest. He just so happened to be born into one of the most powerful clans with some of the most unstoppable abilities in the world. Toji's prideful nature made it so that Gojo was able to barely escape with his life. He had people like Geto and Rico help him see that non-sorcerers actually do live meaningful lives. And without all of that, he would be another cocky, arrogant sorcerer that would eventually end up getting killed for his selfishness and bravado. Satoru isn't the strongest. The strongest just happens to be another kid born into a famously powerful clan. After getting rejected by Geto, Gojo prepares to erase him with Hollow Purple. And Geto basically dares him to do it, knowing that he doesn't have the heart to actually follow through with it. Gojo is so strong that he can do anything he wants. But everything he wants is just out of his reach, and he's too powerless to obtain it. Geto becomes the leader of what was once known as the Time Vessel Association. In order to get more powerful and wealthy, he decides to rule over this cult through fear. He chose to sit above all the non-sorcerers and became their god. Gojo, he decided to honor Toji's final words and look after his son, Megumi. It's obvious that he's terrible with kids, especially this one specifically, the son of the man who almost killed him. But Megumi has something to live for. Protecting Sumika is all that he cares about, so if Gojo can help him with that, he's willing to listen. Gojo had stooped down to the level of looking after the son of his greatest enemy. He had become a mentor and a teacher. This is the story of 2 high school boys. Given the most important escort mission of their lives, it was everything but simple. After all that happened, one of them rose and became the strongest. No one could have ever predicted these catastrophic series of events that would change the world of Jujutsu sorcery forever. But everyone, for years to come, would feel the aftermath. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Shout out to my people on Patreon, Gwen, Biomon, Jaslyn. Your support helps me drop these longer videos more often, so shout out to y'all. Also, shout out to Gib for narrating the 2nd chapter. Make sure y'all go show some love to him. Check out the video we did over on his channel. By the time this video goes up, we will probably already be past 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. I can't even imagine seeing 1,000 people just waiting to see what I'm gonna do next. This is amazing, bro, and I can't thank you enough for choosing to stay with me through this journey, however far it's gonna take us. So if you are new to the channel, leave a comment. Just be like, yo, I'm new. Just like that. Just type that, right? If you're new, to be like, yo, I'm new. I'll heart it, I'll pin it, bro. First person to do that, I'll pin it. Subscribe if you want to hear me talk about your next favorite anime. And with that, I'm out of here.